Hi, everyone. This is Jason. Welcome back to the show. Joining me today are the organizers of Southside Blockchain, Darren Heard, LaTaevia Berry, and Ron Daniels. If you would like more information on Southside Blockchain, go to meetup.com and search Southside Blockchain. Everyone, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad that we can talk about the importance of meetups. In Los Angeles, three of the more popular meetups are hosted by Crypto Indio, Crypto Blockchain Plug, and BitActive. And they're in different parts of the city. So you have a feel for just how large the community is. But I wanted to get your experiences individually, and then we're going to talk about how you came to organize the meetup group itself. Why don't we start with LaTaevia? LaTaevia, how did you find Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Initially, I was just like scrolling the internet, searching forums. I was new to programming in general. I was self-teaching software engineering and just looking for help with command line prompts. I came across people mining and just went from there.
Okay, nice. Darren, how about yourself?
Well, this was back in 2014. I was doing some network marketing and coffee, and the business was performing very badly. So I picked up a side hustle to do petitioning. And long story short, while petitioning, I met a guy, and he wanted me to do more petitioning. So we actually met up at a coffee shop, and we went to go get coffee. I paid for my coffee in cash, and he asked the clerk, do you all accept Bitcoin? So I literally saw him take out his phone, and she took out her phone. Right. And they start typing letters and numbers and stuff. And I'm just asking, like, what's Bitcoin all about? And he just said it like, it's a payment-to-payment system. I looked at it kind of like Visa. So after research on it, I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's neat. I just wasn't into long-term investing. Then fast forward 2017, I began doing sexual health and wellness workshops with youth about rape prevention and, being sexually positive and things like that. And I was doing entrepreneurship workshops with a guy who I met at the Urban League. We had a guest speaker come in, and he began talking about Bitcoin as long-term investment and changing the economy. And that's when it just sparked there.
Nice. How about you, Ron? How did you get into crypto?
So I first learned about crypto through school. So I was at DePaul, and I was taking a scripting class. DePaul is a university in Chicago. And in the class, we were going through infinite loops. And one of the examples that the professors used was Ethereum. So at the time, around 2016, Ethereum was new. So he just used it as an example of a scripting language because we were taking CCS and HTML, and we were trying to create infinite loops in our just basic infinite loops. So that's when I learned about Ethereum first. And then from Ethereum, I went down a rabbit hole into Bitcoin. But I didn't get into crypto, so to speak, until 2017.
Okay, nice. Well, and I'm glad you brought up Ethereum because a lot of people actually, they get into Bitcoin primarily, I think, because of the financial aspect of it. But the people who are looking at what blockchain can do tend to come in through Ethereum, because of the smart contracts and the different things that you can do. And quite frankly, that's the same with people who get in through Tron or EOS. It's the application side of it. You're starting to see more people try to build on the Bitcoin blockchain. But I think for the most part, yeah, you're right. It's Ethereum that gets most people in to begin with.
Yeah. So the problem with building on the Bitcoin blockchain, it's not a scripting language. So many people are trying to put layers on top of Bitcoin to allow people to create scripts. And when you create scripts, you're basically like creating a web page where if you press something, something happens. If you type something in, something happens. So you're trying to create scripts and loops. And Bitcoin is not good for that. But Ethereum is perfect for that. So that's why people can create their own coins. They can create dApps. They can create so much more with Ethereum. And the use cases there with the Ether as the fuel and Ethereum as the virtual machine versus Bitcoin. and it's because its purpose was originally just to be digital cash
Right. It's just currency.
versus
Yeah.
versus like a virtual machine.
Right. Exactly. So, okay. So it's one thing to get into, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a, um, uh, technology and even as a currency. But when you make the leap to actually trying to explain it to other people and bring them in, have you all found any hindrances, or has it been easier than you thought? LaTaevia, how do you feel about that?
Most of the people that show up to our meetup are already onboarded, at least like they have some sort of understanding. Those that haven't, I think the challenge becomes like there's already misinformation and associations with a gold coin, and you have to get rid of all the misconceptions before you like start with this fresh palette of like, okay, let's start with a ledger and then go from
Right. Trying to explain it to them exactly what it is.
there.
Yeah. Darren, so, all right. So Southside Blockchain. So give me a little bit about that, because now I mentioned the 3 meetups in LA, and they're actually in different parts of LA. Do you think that there's a need for more, and we hate to use the word centralized, but areas that are less represented needing a centralized place that they can go to? Like you guys, for example, Southside Blockchain, right? So
Yeah.
you represent an area, people in that area can find your meetups and come and learn. How important do you think that is for growth in the community?
Oh, it was a major need. I mean, myself and Ron, we would find out about these meetups that were located like downtown Chicago and the north side. And if you're unfamiliar with Chicago, it's highly segregated. It's one of the most segregated cities in the world. So South Side is basically majority Black, and you have to understand the plight that's going on in our community as far as surviving in Chicago and making ends meet. So when we go to these meetups, I'm just gonna blunt, we were kind of like the darker people in the room. It was just basically very obvious. And even further than that, just from a social economic standpoint, most of those people had access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, the jobs, the technology, everything in between. But many people on the South Side just were either unaware or they just didn't know.
Right.
And when it comes to hosting a meetup, right in the location of the South Side is accessible to everybody.
Right.
So imagine going from 95th Street Red Line to downtown after work and then going back all the way back home. That's a 2-hour swing. But with us, we could host a local meetup in the community and you get there within 15 minutes and learn from people who basically are from your culture and understand some of the things that you're not dealing with.
Right. Well, and that's actually a good point, because a lot of the people who make the crypto that we're all talking about and the blockchain technology, unfortunately, don't look like us. So and it's not. I actually don't hold it against them. You talk to who's around, but they're more than willing to come out to different places and talk to people. They just need to know that there's a desire to learn in those areas, and you guys are helping to do that. So I think a lot of people are going to benefit from you guys doing your meetups. But we have to talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is the coronavirus. So Ron, how has that affected your meetups, and what ideas have you guys had to deal with that?
So since the announcement of the coronavirus back in December, we haven't had any meetups. And now that things have ramped up in America, and especially Chicago, as of lately, meetups send out notifications saying that we should consider virtual meetups. And the governor of the state of Illinois issued an order where everyone's supposed to stay at home unless they need to go out and do things for the household, like get food, water, medicine, or if you have an essential job, like if you're in legal, healthcare, you can leave the house. With that being said, with that being said, we want to respect everyone's health, but we want to stay connected. We do have a Facebook group, which all 3 of us monitor, and we make sure that there's no selling, there's no one trying to sell an ICO or investment class or Forex classes. We all just share knowledge about what's going on in the crypto space. So that's a way for us to stay connected with everyone. And doing things like this podcast where we can get together and we can share with our community and they can see us, we can interact with them. Just using more virtual community building versus in person. And I do appreciate in person because you get to touch people, you get to laugh, you get to interact with people. But for the time being, we're sticking mostly to virtual.
Yeah.
I can add to what Ron said. Darren also releases a Crypto 411 every week, where he highlights all of, I think you've seen it before on Twitter.
Yes.
He highlights all of the top news in crypto just to kind of keep everybody abreast.
Nice. And we're going to make sure to link that in the video so that people can get in on that too. LaTaevia, give me an idea of you were showing me the shirts that you guys are making. So can you give me an idea of how people have received them? Like what's been the feedback?
It's always been like, wait, what does that mean? So it's twofold. Like some people who don't know what crypto is, they're like, wait, I know the lyric, right? Cash moves everything around me. So what is crypto? How did you get that? And then for those who get it, they're like, I see what you did. Like, oh, where can I get that shirt? Or like, where did you buy that shirt? And I'm like, I made it. Fun.
Nice. And then it starts the conversation about crypto.
Yes, you either make a friend, right, if they already know about crypto, or you've got the opportunity to introduce this new topic to someone. My sister, actually, who is like on board and like understanding what I'm doing with blockchain, is like, so yeah, what's crypto? And I'm like, what? Like you've been like paying attention to all these meetups for blockchain, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta make this connection. So we were talking, I think 2 days ago, and I was wearing this shirt. And she was just like, yeah, you got to like tell me more about what's going on with this shirt. And I'm like, oh my God,
Well, you know what? And I'm glad you brought that up because, there's so much opportunity left in this space that actually isn't related to money. It's actually a great space to actually build it, not even just blockchain stuff, but businesses that support those businesses. Like, people want to have shirts that say Bitcoin and crypto. People like that stuff, And so you have a business potentially that doesn't actually require you to know a lick of code. You're just doing the designing. And I mean, that's great, especially now.
Keep it relevant, keep it fresh, keep it interesting for the people who do know about blockchain and about crypto. And exactly. You make a very interesting point. Like, I wouldn't necessarily need to be some sort of blockchain engineer to make a shirt.
No. And I mean, to be honest, and Darren, I want to get your opinion on this. A lot of the newer apps actually don't reference cryptocurrency or really blockchain. They just produce apps. Like, I did an interview with, they're a company called Pixelmatic, and they're making a video game called Infinite Fleet. And it's a straight up role-playing RTS game. It doesn't actually reference Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at all, but it's blockchain. So Darren, give me your opinion on moving the space away from talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and just building on top of it. What do you think? How do you think we're going to move towards that?
Well, when I have conversations with people, most people don't want to get into the tech aspects of Bitcoin or blockchain. The feedback that I'm getting is that, hey, people need to be able to use it without knowing that they're actually using it. So that's where we're headed. I think we're slowly and surely progressing in that direction. Is that it's going to be so simple that a 5-year-old could pick up a video game and play it on the blockchain without even saying blockchain or Bitcoin. So that's what you need to know with mass adoption.
Exactly. And that's a great point.
Okay.
Last question. All right. So once all this issues goes away and we can actually start coming into the same room again, what's the what are the plans for Southside Blockchain? What are you guys looking to do in the future?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole. There's a lot.
Hold on, give me something.
We're trying to put, like LaTaevia calls it, hands to keys. hands to keyboard to come up with a solution or a use case for the entire community to be able to put forth on the blockchain, but without knowing they're using blockchain. You know, what that is, you know, we were dipping and dabbling maybe into like music streaming, into the music business. We're still keeping that idea alive because LaTaevia, who's well versed in the music industry, gave us a lot of education about how blockchain could help. We're not going to give our whole idea away, of course, but that's one area that we could definitely tap into, especially here in Chicago.
Nice, nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
We're going to continue to just educate the community and stay to our core values.
Definitely, definitely. We kept losing you there. I wasn't sure if you're still with us.
Yeah, it's my thing keeps going in and out.
Okay, but no, that's a good point. And Darren's point about not giving away the let's not give away the farm before we've got our plans in place. And unfortunately, we tend to do that. So we're gonna stop doing that because now's the time to start coming up with ideas for the future, right? So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Darren, LaTaevia, Ron, I appreciate you. And then everyone, I want you to follow the links in the description to their Meetup page and also to their Facebook group so that you can join in on what's going on at Southside Blockchain. Everyone, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
All right, take care.